interviewing top talent in movies, television, sports, and music, leaders, entrepreneurs, and experts. Broadcast in over 30 countries out of New York, Manchester, Los Angeles. As a mentor, life and career coach, I help others, athletes, actors, and people of all walks of life, solve the problems they face by introducing balance and routines that would otherwise leave them stuck and overthinking, paralyzed, unable to reach their goals. They look for engaging, rewarding lives, and I think they deserve that. Today, I invite you to join me on my radio show to learn from my guests and I how you can be more resilient and strong. I empower people who struggle with confusion or feel stuck in soulless, non-fulfilling situations. I help them find calm and claim their authentic self in their career path or personal life so they can live to their fullest potential. As a motivational speaker for businesses, schools, resorts, and communities, I speak on topics of achieving success and living a mentally healthy lifestyle, featuring topics from my Power My Life program within my revolutionary Impact, Influence, and Income Academy. I inspire the world as a radio journalist, author, life coach, career coach, resilience expert, mental health advocate, and most recently as a society writer for Transatlantic Today magazine. So happy that you joined me. Let's get rolling. You don't just have to go through it, you can grow through it. Good morning and welcome to Resilient You with Alicia Pozsony. On our show, we have guests each week that talk about topics of resilience, and I'm so excited to welcome Brianna Thaxton. Brianna is a wonderful expert in her field. Not only that, she's an author, she's a speaker and a coach. Brianna, tell our audience a little bit about yourself, and of course, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me here. So I am from a single mother with 7 kids. I grew up in the worst part of town. I found myself later in life in a relationship, a marriage for 13 years that was pretty rough. I endured a lot of covert narcissistic abuse, and after I escaped from that, after I came out of that, I came out, hit the ground running, just got full into business. I started my own business. I'm a single mother of 5 kids. I'm a speaker now. Yes, I'm an author. I coach people that are coming through the same stuff. And that's kind of a short summary.
Thank you. So before we go further about what you're doing today, I'd like to ask you about narcissism. A lot of our viewers may not know what it is. They might be in relationships that exemplify some of what that is and may not even know it. Can you tell us a little bit about narcissism?
Absolutely. So narcissism is a personality disorder. Now, it can be diagnosed, and if it's diagnosed, it's called narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. It's not often diagnosed because generally narcissists don't believe that there's anything wrong with them. So they won't go to counseling, they won't go to therapy, they don't do any of those things. They won't accept anything that, that there could be possibly anything wrong with them. With the personality disorder, there is this feeling of like they're superior to other people, they are grandiose, they have this actually deep-seated insecurity within themselves where they have to put on this facade, this mask, this outward face to the world that they want everybody to believe that this is who they are. And if you say anything against who they try to present, then they become a victim and they lash out. They can be very cruel. If you're in a relationship with them, they will manipulate you. They will do all sorts of things, and they always end up being the victim, and they turn everything around. It goes super, super deep, but that's a gist of it.
Thank you. So, as you describe it, I think my mother was narcissistic, but she had other mental illnesses. And so, I love the world we're in today where we can make a change in the world through our voice and through our message. And, I, a mother of seven, that's amazing in and of itself. So thank you for being so open and transparent. I know that everything you're doing today is going to have a great effect on them, and you're going to leave a wonderful legacy. So that's something that I think a lot of our viewers can relate to. We get to a point in our life and we stop, we look back, and that ties into a lot of what you speak about today. What do you want to share with our viewers about it? Is it speaking is important to you? And I know you have other passions as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, it's actually my mother was a single mother of seven. I have five of my own babies. But when it
Oh,
comes to speaking, that's okay. So, when it comes to speaking, I've always been passionate about helping other people. And I see speaking as a means to make a bigger impact to help more people, just really across the country, across the world. We have so many opportunities to get our voice out there and help other people, even online now with all the social media platforms. We're able to speak out and share our own stories. So the things that I've gone through, I can now share that with other people and share how I made it through, the light at the end of the tunnel. So whatever you're going through, I've been there, done that. I know how you can get out and I can help inspire you to not give up. And I think that's very important to bring that aspect to any speaking that we do.
yeah, that's a wonderful thing. And made for more, that is one theme that I just love it. What do you want to share with our viewers about that topic?
Absolutely. I love that theme of made for more. I have it across my coaching. I've got it on my book, my speaking engagements. So made for more really is something that I went through in my relationship. I felt very lost. I felt hopeless. I thought this is going to be the rest of my life, but there was like this small voice inside that was saying, you're made for more than this.
Hmm.
Like you're made for more than what you're going through right now. This is not going to be the rest of your life. You're not meant to be a doormat to be walked over. Whatever it is, if you're experiencing abuse from anybody, it could be a boss, a parent, a spouse, could be anybody. You're not meant to go through that. Or whatever hardships or challenges you've gone through in life, you're made for more than that. So the topic is really just to continue pressing through because life, it'll knock you down. Life comes at you. There's one challenge after another, and it's not a reason to give up. There's so much more for your life. So you continue pressing through because there's so much more for you.
Hmm. That is so true. And that's one topic that I talk about, resilience and being resilient. We're always going to have challenges in our life and things that are out of our control. But when we can have what we need, the tools to bounce back and to overcome those things, that's what makes life great. So I want to share. Brianna has not only time available to speak. So if you're an event planner, if you're looking for someone to speak to your group, she's available. And Brianna, let's tell people how they can find you right now before we get into other topics.
Yeah, so I am primarily on Facebook. You can find me on there, Brianna Thaxton or Brianna Thaxton Coaching. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over the place. You can also reach me on my email, brianna@briannathaxton.com.
Wonderful. So, the made for more is really something that people in all walks of life can benefit from. Like you've mentioned, people who are, it can happen at work. So if it's in a career and they don't know how to handle it, they don't know how to even recognize it. That's something that can really resonate with people in the corporate world and beyond. And then also the women who might be in a relationship, even men who may be in that relationship. I know that my stepfather was a police detective, and he was in love with my mother, like head over heels. Like she'd say, call him and say, hey, pick up donuts. Well, he'd go out of his way to bring the donuts, right? Like, no matter. So I learned from that, and I got a wonderful view of what love was, despite the fact that I came up in a different environment, which was, I was abandoned by my father. I was mistreated by my mother and neglected. She had mental illness, but the topics that you speak on can relate to all of us because we've all gone through things, right? And that's the thing that is so wonderful. Now, you mentioned you have a coaching program. Tell our listeners a little bit about what is the benefit of working with you.
Okay, so the benefit of working with me, I love what I do. I love going back and helping the people that are going through what I have already experienced. I give them hope, I give them direction. They regain their identity because so many people in those relationships, their identity is so intertwined as a spouse, a parent, and also just trying to be everything that their narcissistic partner wants them to be, that they're giving up so much of themselves that they become empty. And in the end, they don't know who they are anymore. So when they come out of that relationship, they have to discover who they are. And more than that, who is it that they want to be? So I help them to kind of map out, like, who do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? And becoming that person, just developing that identity for themselves, because you can really choose who it is that you want to be. It doesn't matter what people have spoken over you. It doesn't matter your past experiences. You really get to choose who you want to be. And then beyond that, they get to find their confidence again. Because in a narcissistic relationship, you are so broken down mentally, emotionally. It has such a deep impact on how you think about yourself that you come out insecure, you're socially awkward, you have a hard time connecting with people, you have a hard time trusting others, you have a hard time trusting your own intuition. And so the result of that is that you isolate a lot, you have a hard time connecting with people. But I help my clients to regain this bold confidence to speak up for themselves, to set healthy boundaries, to go out and make friends and socialize. And in turn, that brings a lot of joy and happiness in their life. And then the last thing is finding their purpose, because I believe purpose is so important. If we're just floating around in this life with no purpose and we don't have a clear direction, we don't know where we're going or why. And if somebody else comes into your life who is narcissistic, they're going to knock you off whatever path you may have been on. But if you have a clear direction and you're knowing, this is what I feel called to, this is my purpose, these are my goals, and you know who you are, and you're walking firmly in that, then if somebody else comes along and it's not in line with what you feel called to, then you can easily put up a boundary and say, no, I'm sorry, you're not for me. And so it really helps protect them and their life, their mind, their emotions, their heart. It's absolutely amazing. I love getting to help people go through this.
Wonderful. Now, your coaching is not only one-on-one, but you're going to be releasing a group program as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. So I can only help a handful of one-on-one clients at a time because I'm so involved in their journey. So I've decided to create a group coaching program where it's going to be building a community of men and women who can come together. They can be this emotional support for each other. They can encourage one another. It's very, very much a forward focus. We can understand what they came out of, but then also moving forward into the future with a fresh outlook, a fresh perspective, and just having that community of support around you.
I love that. So that's what we need in this world. There's so many challenges, there's so many changes with the advancement of technology, with the world and the competitiveness, with the competition. In my journey as a career coach, I've seen where you're not just competing with whoever is in that same building, right? You're competing with people all around the world. And so our life is more complex and it's harder in many ways. I think that if you build this community like this where people can rise together stronger, I think that it's going to really take off. So I'm happy to hear that. So your growth has been, maybe some might say, non-typical. You told me about a relationship that you had with someone and you saw the trajectory of how their life turned out opposed to how your life is turning out. Tell our listeners, our audience a little bit about that.
Yes, so when I was a teenager, I had my best friend. She actually lived behind me. We hung out all the time. And when we're young, we're trying to figure out where we fit in the world. We're trying to find our identity. And so I started to make poor choices. I was hanging out with some of the wrong people, and I absolutely love this girl. We're great friends. But then I stopped at just a young age. I was like looking at my life. If I'm here right now, doing these things now, where will I be in 5 years from now? Where will I be in 10 years from now? And I knew that's not what I wanted for my life. I knew that there was so much more that I was capable of, and I did not want to go down this path. So I changed the direction of my life. That was really a pivotal turning point for me. And I tried to speak to her. I wanted the best for her. I really cared about her. But she liked the direction her life was going. Not necessarily that she liked that direction, but she enjoyed the things that she was doing. And so I knew I had to release her from my life, which is a hard thing. There's a lot of times in our lives where we get to that turning point and we think, this isn't me. Why am I doing this? How did I get here? This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And you know that you are again made for more, right? You're made for more than those things. And so you have to sometimes cut people out of your life that don't align with the direction that you were trying to go, with what you know is the right thing for you. And now years later, I read in the newspaper, I saw in the newspaper that she was in jail and died from a drug overdose. And I believe she had 3 children. She left behind 3 babies. And it broke my heart. On the one hand, I think, is there more that I could have done to try to persuade her? But ultimately, everybody has to make their own choices. And I had to do what was right for me. And I think back to that moment. If I hadn't changed the direction of my life in that moment, where would I be today?
Yes, isn't that amazing when you stop and think about that? Think about the things that have influenced and inspired you, and maybe I think our listeners can benefit also to hear about what was your inspiration.
My inspiration in turning at that moment was, well, I was smoking pot, I was skipping class, I was young, I was just getting in a lot of trouble, and I just started, I don't know, really exactly. There was just this strong sense of that I'm not supposed to be doing this. A big factor is my faith. I'll tell you, a big factor is my faith, and I was just feeling this isn't right. This isn't me. I'm not meant to be doing this. There's something more for me, and I would picture. I literally pictured my life in 5 years or 10 years, and I could imagine myself being either a drug addict or, living this lower lifestyle, just looking for the next party or the fun things to do in the moment that weren't really building me up or doing anything greater with my life. Versus if I went forward and started going into some type of a business, a career, building a family, having a home, all of these other things. I'm like, that's what I want. And as a matter of fact, I actually, at that moment, that was in ninth grade, and I told my mom, I don't like the direction my life is going. I want to be homeschooled. And my mother, my parents are divorced. She worked full time. So she would give me my books in the morning and she'd say, okay, this is all the stuff that you got to do this week. And I would sit down and I would school myself. And I did absolutely amazing in 10th grade and loved it. And the next year I went to college for criminal justice the last 2 years. At 16 years old, I went to college. And it was because of that turning point in my life right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, wow. So, the world is different today. Kids have more opportunity, there's more awareness, I think, but years ago, that's amazing, Brianna. I didn't know that. So that's I know that people who are going through things, whether you have kids and you're not sure how to get them focused and on target, this episode is really going to help you to gain clarity that if the child has the possibility, if they have the faith, the upbringing, and it's never too late to start. So if you haven't reached out to a faith provider, I personally am a Christian and I believe in God. And without God, I know I would not be where I am today. And I know that people have different beliefs, but the fact that you talk about that faith and that belief that you were made for more. We were not put here on earth by accident. We were put here for a reason, not just to procreate, right, and make babies and multiply, but we're here to affect each other in a positive way. And so, Brianna, thank you for being so transparent. I love hearing that story, and that you actually did that at such a young age. Your mom was there for you. Did you have a relationship with your father at all, or no?
I did not really have a relationship with him. My father was actually very physically abusive to my mother and my siblings, and they got a divorce. My mom finally left him when I was just a baby, and it was to protect us. So she went off into the world as a single mother of 7 kids, and she has her own incredible story because I mean, she went through so much being a stay-at-home mom of 7 kids to trying to break free from a physically abusive relationship. And she worked full time, she went to school full time, became a nurse, and that really changed our lives tremendously from living in literally the worst part of the worst part of town where
Mm,
our house was broken into on Christmas Eve, multiple Christmases, and our presents were stolen. It was a bad part of town. And
wow.
then going and moving to a way better part of town, it really helped my life a lot.
Mm,
Just everything that choice that she made to leave.
mm-hmm.
Aside from that, I didn't have too much of a relationship with my dad, and that was really by choice.
Okay. Well, we hear a lot about that, where people who come from broken homes, they don't have the tools or the emotional support that they need. And I'm one of them. So my parents were divorced, and luckily my mother remarried, and my stepfather was the only stability that I had. But when you see that good things happening and people making positive choices, I think it helps you to really change the trajectory and end that cycle. And so now that you've overcome, you've been resilient, certainly, and your mother was resilient as well. I think that, what do you think is the one thing that you can share with the viewers that can help them to be more resilient? If you had
Something
to
that
pick one, just try to pick one.
something that can help you be more resilient. That's a really good question, especially to pick just one thing. I I would say just look at your life, where you are right now, and picture yourself in 5 years or 10 years and decide which direction you want to go. That's the biggest thing. Just decide what direction you want to go. If where you're at right now does not align with that, then you've got some choices to make and some decisions to act upon.
I love that. That is so true, because without a plan, it's just chaos. And people lose their entire day if they don't have a plan. And so if you think about it, you can make a decision, and you can always change your mind. But if you start on that path, you're going to end up in a better place than if you had no plan at all. So keep in mind what Brianna says. Think about your life. Think about where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years. Think about the legacy that you can choose to lead with and leave your life, uh, leave the world a better place. I know that, women have such advancements. We have things happening in politics. We have things happening with women in the business world. We've made great strides. Now, women are not always seen in such great light, but I think that we are living in a place where women are becoming more equal, and that's something that I love to talk about as well. When I see women who want to do something, but they feel like they can't do it, or they shouldn't do it, or no one wants to hear them, that's something where I think we all have to learn to be more positive about ourselves. We can still be humble, we can be brave, we can become inspiring, and we can be breathtaking. So just want to put that out there. And you've inspired me, Brianna, to think about it in terms of a longer term goal, because I know for myself, as a speaker, as an author, we have a lot of things in common. I think that I'm not really looking that far out. So thanks for sharing that tip with us. So viewers, you can reach out to Brianna. She's available on all the socials. Her main theme is Made for More, and she offers coaching. She's got a book that you can read on your own. It can help you to get focused and take the next steps you need. She's got a group program coming up, so please look into that. And again, if you're looking for a speaker, Brianna is amazing. I've heard her on stage a couple of times, and I know that she is going to inspire you to motivate and become more than you are today, because you are made for more. Brianna, any last words?
You are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And just to the listeners, again, yes, you are made for more. You're made for more than your past experiences and your current circumstances. So I always say, keep going, keep growing. Yeah, that's it. God bless.
Thank you.
Yeah.